Hello everyone. So as you can see behind me, there's my Gen 4 3S GTE, and that'll be going into my AW11 MR2. So I bought this engine about 2 months ago, but I haven't really done anything to it yet, but that's going to change today. So let's take a look at some of the parts that I got. So starting from here, upper radiator hose, heater hose, alternator belt, alternator tensioner bracket, the OEM fuel filter, and then this is the Racer X coolant neck, pretty nice. And then this is the oil pressure sensor adapters, OEM gasket kit, some spark plugs, PCV valve and grommet, thermostat, hose from hell on earth. Yeah, funny names, huh? I think this is the downpipe studs, and then this should be the exhaust manifold studs, fuel lines, that should be the pressure line, and then this is the fuel return line. And then in these boxes, these are E153 axles, so the 2 axles there plus the axle stubs. So I'll go into more detail as I install these parts, but for now let's move on to the engine. So this engine originally comes out of a 2000 Toyota Caldina, which is like a weird station wagon, but the guy I bought it from had it in his 91 SW20 MR2. Pretty popular swap. This thing makes like what, 245 horsepower or something like that in stock form. So yeah, so the plan is I just want to like refresh this thing. I drove the guy's car, it was running and driving great, and then I already checked it under the timing belt cover, it was like brand new. Prime MR2 actually did this swap. So the guy I bought this engine from shipped his car to New Jersey, and Prime MR2 did this swap for him. So anyways, I want to make it cleaner. Like I want to paint the block, paint the intake, replace some gaskets and seals and stuff. I think a couple things could be ran much cleaner, maybe even deleted, but we'll see when we get there. So for starters, let's start taking off the intercooler. So now with all that piping out of the way, I guess we can start on the exhaust manifold. So this heat shield, pretty ugly. I'm not even going to be using this thing. It's pretty broken and rusty. Okay. So this part's going to be a little bit scary. These things are looking really rusty. There's a chance that I might break all these studs. So hopefully not. Okay, I got the exhaust manifold off, but now I'm having trouble getting these loosened up. So I'm going to spray these with penetrating fluid and then get a torch on it tomorrow and see if that helps. Anyways, moving on, let's start taking off all these coolant lines. Okay, so these coolant pipes are ready to be removed now. There's just 2 10mm bolts there, one 12 here, 112 there, then a couple of hoses holding it on, including this hose from hell. So let's just pull this off, and now that is out of the way. Okay, so the exhaust side is finished up. Now let's move on to the intake side. Now you all know this is about to happen. Of course, I spilled coolant everywhere. Guess there's still a good amount of coolant inside this block. That's just great. Alright, got a little bit of cleanup to do. Alright, intake side is pretty easy. It's just a couple of 12mm bolts. So let's get those off. And it's off. Alright, so the last thing on the intake side is going to be the fuel rail. It's just held up with three 12mm bolts. Now when we take this thing off, gotta be careful not to lose these little plastic washers. Alright. Alright, one last main part to the engine, and that'll be the valve cover. Look how dirty that is. Okay, here we go. First look under the valve cover. Oh man, that's kind of dirty. Well, I'm a little disappointed in how dirty this engine is, but it's not a huge deal. I know this thing was running and driving perfectly and it didn't smoke, and the previous owner of this engine also gave me a leak down test and it passed perfectly. So all this tells me is someone didn't keep up the oil changes, and I assume that person would be the original owner in Japan. Now another thing I'm disappointed in is, why is there so much RTV up here? You don't need all this. In fact, you don't need any of this here. All you need is a little bit of RTV in these corners. And that was the thing when I noticed when I was taking apart this engine. There's kind of RTV everywhere. So like this, on this thermostat housing, some RTV. Again, not a huge deal, but it just kind of annoys me. Now in the previous video, I did say this timing belt and everything else in here is brand new. And as far as I can tell, there's no RTV. There's no RTV on these cam seals, so that's good. The water pump's brand new. Idler, tensioner, that's all brand new. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. Clean everything else up here, put new gaskets on, and then throw this thing in. Alright, so one last part to take off. The crank pulley and the lower timing cover. So I got this nice little tool from Harbor Freight. That just presses it out. Any second now. There you go. Easy job. Okay, and a couple 10mm bolts later, and timing cover is off. Okay, everything looks pretty good under here, like I thought. So I got service records from the previous owner, and he only put like, I think it was like 15,000 miles ever since this whole swap was done. And in that receipt was this whole timing belt job. And his service life is like 60,000 miles, so I got 45,000 miles left on this thing. So this will be good to go. Alright, I think this is a good stopping point for this video. I've taken everything off that I wanted to, and I'm not going to take it apart any more than it already is right now. So from here on out, this whole thing is going to get cleaned up, along with all these parts here. Yeah, these parts filled up the table pretty quickly. I wasn't expecting it to take up 2 tables. But you can see that these parts kind of dirty. It could be a lot better. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there. So today is actually Christmas, December 25th. So Merry Christmas to you guys. And if there's not a new video up by then, before the end of the year, then Happy New Year to you too. So yeah, I'm excited to be working on this thing again. My goal is to have it running by March 2021. I think that's pretty reasonable. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.